I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. So I'm going to return now to the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi. This is a little after the destruction of the temple and the city of Jerusalem. Remember, we read Ezekiel's prophecy that was spoken a year after the destruction of the city. We had Daniel interpret Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which probably happened a little bit after that. And we had the Book of Lamentations, which was written very shortly after the city was destroyed. But now we return to the timeline of the Book of Mormon. This is, again, just a few years later. They were in the wilderness. Lehi's family was in the wilderness for 8 years. They built a boat, sailed to the New World, probably arrived in the New World in the 9th or 10th year. So they've been in the New World now. They arrived during the siege of Jerusalem. They would have been sailing the ship while Jerusalem was under siege. And now it's been a few years. They've been in the New World, maybe 5 or 6 years at this point. So we pick this up now. We're going to read the last 4 chapters of 1 Nephi, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Right here, chapter 19. Nephi makes plates of ore and records the history of his people. The God of Israel will come 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. Nephi tells of his sufferings and a crucifixion. The Jews shall be despised and scattered until the latter days, when they shall return unto the Lord. And it came to pass that the Lord commanded me, wherefore I did make plates of ore, that I might engraven upon them the record of my people. And upon the plates which I made, I did engraven the record of my father, and also our journeyings in the wilderness, and the prophecies of my father, and also many of mine own prophecies have I engraven upon them. And I knew not at the time when I made them that I should be commanded of the Lord to make these plates. Wherefore the record of my father, and the genealogy of his fathers, and the more part of all our proceedings in the wilderness are engraven upon those first plates of which I have spoken. Wherefore all things which transpired before I made these plates are, of a truth, more particularly made mention upon the first plates. And after I had made these plates by way of commandment, I, Nephi, received a commandment that the ministry and the prophecies, and the more plain and precious parts of them, should be written upon these plates, and that the things which were written should be kept for the instruction of my people, who should possess the land, and also for other wise purposes, which purposes are known unto the Lord. Wherefore I, Nephi, did make a record upon the other plates, which gives an account, or which gives a greater account of the wars and contentions and destructions of my people. And this have I done, and commanded my people what they should do after I was gone, and that these plates should be handed down from one generation to another, or from one prophet to another, until further commandments of the Lord. And an account of my making these plates shall be given hereafter. And then, behold, I proceed according to that which I have spoken. And this I do, that the more sacred things may be kept for the knowledge of my people. Nevertheless, I do not write anything upon plates, save it be that I think it be sacred. And now, if I do err, even did they err of old. Not that I would excuse myself because of other men, but because of the weakness which is in me, according to the flesh, which I would excuse myself. For the things which some men esteem to be of great worth, both in body and soul, others set it not, and trample under their feet. Yea, even the very God of Israel do men trample under their feet. I say trample under their feet, but I would speak in other words. They set him at naught, and hearken not to the voice of his counsels. And behold, he cometh according to the words of the angel in 600 years from the time my father left Jerusalem. The world, because of their iniquity, shall judge him to be a thing of naught. Wherefore they scourge him, and he suffereth it. And they smite him, and he suffereth it. Yea, they spit upon him, and he suffereth it, because of his loving kindness and his long suffering towards the children of men. And the God of our fathers, who were led out of Egypt, out of bondage, and also were preserved in the wilderness by him, yea, the God of Abraham and of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, yieldeth himself according to the words of the angel as a man into the hands of wicked men, to be lifted up according to the words of Enoch, and to be crucified according to the words of Nahum, and to be buried in the sepulchre, according to the words of Zenos, which he spake concerning the 3 days of darkness, which should be a sign given of his death unto those who should inhabit the isles of the sea, more especially given unto those who are of the house of Israel. For thus spake the prophet, the Lord God surely shall visit all the house of Israel at that day, some with his voice, because of their righteousness unto their great joy and salvation, and others with the thunderings and the lightnings of his power, by tempest, by fire, and by smoke, and vapor of darkness, and by the opening of the earth, and by the mountains which shall be carried up. And all these things must surely come, saith the prophet Zenos. And the rocks of the earth must rend, and because of the groanings of the earth, many of the kings of the isles of the sea shall be wrought upon by the Spirit of God to exclaim, The God of nature suffers. And as for those who are at Jerusalem, saith the prophet, they shall be scourged by all people, because they crucify the God of Israel, and turn their hearts aside, rejecting signs and wonders, and the power and glory of the God of Israel. And because they turn their hearts aside, saith the prophet, and have despised the Holy One of Israel, they shall wander in the flesh, and perish, and become a hiss and a byword, and be hated among all nations. Nevertheless, when that day cometh, saith the prophet, that they no more turn aside their hearts against the Holy One of Israel, then will he remember the covenants which he made to their fathers. Yea, then will he remember the isles of the sea. Yea, and all the people who are of the house of Israel will I gather in, saith the Lord, according to the words of the prophet Zenos, from the four quarters of the earth. Yea, and all the earth shall see the salvation of the Lord, saith the prophet. Every nation, kindred, tongue, and people shall be blessed. And I, Nephi, have written these things unto my children, that perhaps I might persuade them that they would remember the Lord their Redeemer. Wherefore I speak unto all the house of Israel, if it so be that they should obtain these things. For behold, I have workings in the Spirit which doth weary me, even that all my joints are weak for those who are at Jerusalem. For had not the Lord been merciful to show unto me concerning them, even as he had prophets of old, I should have perished also. And he surely did show unto the prophets of old all things concerning them, and also he did show unto many concerning us. Wherefore it must needs be that we know concerning them, for they are written upon the plates of brass. Now it came to pass that I, Nephi, did teach my brethren these things, and it came to pass that I did read many things to them, which were engraven upon the plates of brass, that they might know concerning the doings of the Lord in other lands among a people of old. And I did read many things unto them which were written in the books of Moses. But that I might more fully persuade them to believe in the Lord their Redeemer, I did read unto them that which was written by the prophet Isaiah. For I did liken all scriptures unto us, that it might be for our profit and learning. Wherefore I spake unto them, saying, Hear ye the words of the prophet, ye who are a remnant of the house of Israel, a branch who have been broken off. Hear ye the words of the prophet, which were written unto all the house of Israel, and liken them unto yourselves, that ye may have hope, as well as your brethren from whom ye have been broken off. For after this manner has the prophet written. A couple of things to note here. First of all, what we have here in the small plates, 1 Nephi through Omni, this is the small plates of Nephi. He didn't make these plates until after he had made the rest of his record. This part, he was writing this near the end of his life. That's what he's telling us here. Shortly after he arrived at the New World, in the Promised Land here, he was told to make a record. And he makes a record. He includes an abridgment of the record his father had been keeping. Lehi had been writing down a kind of daily journal during all their travels in the wilderness. He had been keeping a record. Now Nephi is commanded to make another record in which he includes an abridgment of Lehi's record. That's how Nephi remembers everything that happened during those last 8 years, as Lehi had kept a record of it. He also includes a genealogy. He includes a lot of things in this record. This is a political history. The large plates of Nephi are a political history. The wars, the contentions, the reign of the kings, all that stuff is contained in the large plates. And then near the end of his life, he is commanded to make these small plates, in which he is to record the sermons, the prophecies. And as it says, the large plates will be handed down from king to king. The small plates will be handed down from prophet to prophet. One's a secular political history, not really secular, but one's a political history, and one is a religious history. Then he goes into this beautiful prophecy from the prophet Zenos. Now Zenos does not appear anywhere in the Bible. Neither does Zenock. Zenock and Zenos, they're unique to the Book of Mormon in all the scripture we currently have. Neum is in the Bible, but these two are unique to the Book of Mormon. And as I've mentioned before, the brass plates were the record. That was the record kept by the tribes of Joseph, particularly Ephraim, as the head tribe of the northern kingdom. They kept this record. This was their scriptures. And so it contained all the big prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah. These were the prophets who were the leaders of the church. They were the presidents of their day. But then it contained all the minor prophets of the northern kingdom. The Bible, most of their minor prophets are of the southern kingdom. The only exception is Hosea. He is of the northern kingdom, although he he's classified as a minor prophet. I think he was actually one of the big guys. But the minor prophets were all the southern kingdom because the Bible is a record of the southern kingdom. The brass plates were a record of the northern kingdom. And so it had all the prophets of the northern kingdom. That is why Nephi is able to quote from Zenock and Zenos, because they are of the tribe of Joseph. These are Josephite prophets. Also, when it talks about the isles of the sea, this is talking about anything that is not a part of the main continent, which consists of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Those three are the kind of supercontinent of the earth. That's the eastern hemisphere. That's the main continent. Anything not a part of those continents, not a part of that landmass, would be considered the isles of the sea, as the term is used in the Book of Mormon. And we have here a prophecy of 3 days of darkness. This is a sign to the isles of the sea. It is not a sign to the Jews in Jerusalem. They get 3 hours of darkness. But the isles of the sea get 3 days of darkness and destruction. The whole destruction is all prophesied here. Zenos prophesied this, not Nephi. Nephi is just quoting Zenos. So this was a prophecy spoken by a prophet in the northern kingdom before Lehi ever leaves Jerusalem. We don't know exactly how long before. I think we can kind of take a guess. I think it definitely during the divided kingdom. And I think it was probably after the time of Elijah, but probably before the time of Isaiah. That's just my guess. And I'll explain later. But we get some great prophecies here. We don't need to talk about them in detail. We're all familiar with this. So I'm going to leave that here, and we will see you in the next chapter.